What if I told you that the healthy breakfast you ate this morning could be slowly eroding your memory? That the afternoon snack you reach for without thinking is actually accelerating cognitive decline with every bite? Here's the truth nobody wants you to know. Certain foods don't just affect your waistline or your cholesterol. They cross the blood-brain barrier and directly damage the neurons responsible for memory, decision-making, and personality. And the most dangerous part? These aren't obvious junk foods. These are items sitting in kitchens across the country, foods that people over 50 eat daily, believing they're making healthy choices. Recent research from major neuroscience institutions has revealed something disturbing. Adults who consume specific foods regularly show dramatically accelerated rates of cognitive decline compared to those who avoid them. We're talking about measurable brain shrinkage, increased dementia risk, and memory problems appearing years earlier than they should. The food industry doesn't want this information widely known. Neither do the companies marketing brain-healthy products that actually do the opposite. They've built billion-dollar empires on your confusion about what really protects or destroys your cognitive health. But the science is undeniable. In this video, we're exposing the 5 foods that are silently destroying brain health in adults over 50. These aren't rare delicacies. These are everyday items that millions of people consume without realizing the neurological damage they're causing. Every point we discuss is supported by peer-reviewed research from institutions studying brain aging and dementia prevention. We've included sources in the description below. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which foods to eliminate from your diet, why they're so damaging to cognitive health, and most importantly, what to eat instead to actually protect your brain. Before we begin, comment below. What's your age and what's your biggest concern about memory loss? Do you have family history of dementia that worries you? We read and reply to every single comment with personalized dietary guidance. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly brain health content that could add years of mental clarity to your life. Now, let's talk about the first brain-destroying food that's probably in your pantry right now. Number 5, refined carbohydrates and white bread. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain runs on glucose. But there's a massive difference between the steady fuel from complex carbohydrates and the damaging spikes caused by refined carbs. White bread, pastries, white rice, regular pasta? These foods cause rapid blood sugar surges that create inflammatory responses throughout your body, including your brain. Research examining the relationship between high glycemic diets and cognitive function has found concerning patterns. Adults who regularly consume refined carbohydrates show higher rates of cognitive impairment compared to those eating whole grains and complex carbs. Here's why this matters neurologically. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, it triggers a process called glycation. Sugar molecules attach to proteins in your body, including proteins in your brain, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs accumulate in brain tissue over time, causing inflammation and oxidative stress. They damage the hippocampus, your brain's memory center, and interfere with the formation of new memories. Studies have also shown connections between high refined carbohydrate intake and increased risk of mild cognitive impairment progressing to dementia. But here's what makes this particularly insidious. Refined carbs don't just damage your brain directly. They also contribute to insulin resistance, which some researchers now call type 3 diabetes when it affects the brain. Your brain cells become less responsive to insulin, can't use glucose efficiently, and essentially starve, even though glucose is available in your bloodstream. Let me share a case that illustrates this perfectly. A patient came in, early 60s, complaining of worsening memory problems. She'd always considered herself health-conscious, avoiding fast food and cooking at home. But her typical breakfast was toast with jam. Lunch included a sandwich on white bread. Dinner featured white rice or pasta. She wasn't eating junk food, but she was consuming refined carbohydrates at every meal, creating blood sugar roller coasters throughout the day. Cognitive testing showed early signs of impairment. We implemented a dietary intervention, replacing all refined carbs with whole grain alternatives, adding more vegetables and protein to stabilize blood sugar, and timing carbohydrate intake strategically.
6 months later, her cognitive testing showed improvement. Not dramatic transformation, but measurable gains. Her subjective memory complaints decreased significantly. Her energy stabilized. Her brain fog lifted. The key action here? Eliminate white bread, white rice, regular pasta, pastries, and sugary cereals from your diet. Replace them with whole grain alternatives that release glucose slowly. Whole grain bread, brown rice, quinoa, steel-cut oats. Your brain needs steady fuel, not inflammatory spikes. But as damaging as refined carbs are, the next food on this list is even worse because people actively believe it's healthy. Number 4, processed vegetable oils high in omega-6. Walk into any kitchen and you'll find them. Corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil.
They're in salad dressings, marinades, packaged foods, restaurant meals, and they're quietly destroying your brain. Here's what's happening. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Your body needs some omega-6, but the ratio between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids matters enormously. For optimal health, that ratio should be roughly 4-to-1 or lower. In the typical Western diet, it's often 20-to-1 or even 30-to-1. This imbalance creates chronic inflammation throughout your body, including your brain. Neurological research has examined the relationship between omega-6 to omega-3 ratios and cognitive health. The findings consistently suggest that diets very high in omega-6 relative to omega-3 are associated with increased neuroinflammation and cognitive decline. Your brain is nearly 60% fat by dry weight. The types of fats you consume literally become part of your brain structure. When you consume excessive omega-6 oils, those fatty acids incorporate into brain cell membranes, making them more rigid and less functional. These oils also oxidize easily, especially when heated during cooking. Oxidized oils generate free radicals that damage brain cells, contribute to plaque formation, and accelerate cognitive aging. Research on Mediterranean populations, who show significantly lower dementia rates, has noted their use of olive oil rather than processed vegetable oils as a key dietary difference. The action step: eliminate corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil from your kitchen. Replace them with extra virgin olive oil for low-heat cooking and salads, avocado oil for higher-heat cooking, and coconut oil for specific applications. Also, dramatically increase your omega-3 intake through fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, or through high-quality fish oil supplements if you don't eat fish regularly. Rebalancing your omega ratio could be one of the most powerful interventions for long-term brain health. But we're just getting started. The next food might shock you because it's marketed specifically as a health food. Number 3, artificial sweeteners in diet products. People trying to make healthy choices often switch from sugar to artificial sweeteners. Diet sodas, sugar-free desserts, light yogurts, protein bars with zero sugar. They think they're protecting their health, but research suggests they might be trading one problem for an even worse one. Studies examining artificial sweetener consumption and cognitive outcomes have raised concerning questions. Some research has found associations between regular consumption of artificially sweetened beverages and increased risk of stroke and dementia. Now, correlation doesn't prove causation, but the biological mechanisms are plausible and troubling. Artificial sweeteners may alter gut bacteria composition. Your gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters and communicates directly with your brain through the gut-brain axis. Disrupting that bacterial balance can affect mood, cognition, and neurological health. Some artificial sweeteners have also been shown in animal studies to cause oxidative stress and inflammatory changes in brain tissue. Perhaps most concerning, artificial sweeteners confuse your body's metabolic responses. When you taste sweetness without corresponding glucose, it may dysregulate insulin responses, potentially contributing to the same insulin resistance problems that damage the brain. I evaluated a patient, mid-50s, who'd switched to diet sodas years earlier to lose weight. She was consuming 4 or 5 cans daily, convinced she was making a healthy choice. She'd also developed significant memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and mood changes. We eliminated all artificial sweeteners from her diet completely. Within weeks, she reported feeling mentally clearer. Her concentration improved. Her mood stabilized. Now, was the improvement entirely due to eliminating artificial sweeteners? Impossible to say definitively, but the temporal relationship was striking. The recommendation? Avoid aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, and acesulfame potassium whenever possible. If you need sweetness, use small amounts of natural alternatives like stevia or monk fruit, or better yet, retrain your palate to appreciate less sweet foods. Your brain doesn't need the metabolic confusion these chemicals create. But as problematic as artificial sweeteners are, the next food on this list is something people consume believing it supports brain health. The irony is devastating. Number 2, highly processed brain health supplements and fortified foods. This might be the cruelest deception of all. Walk down any supplement aisle and you'll see bottles promising memory support, cognitive enhancement, brain health formula. Foods fortified with synthetic vitamins and marketed as supporting mental clarity. People spend billions annually on these products, while many contain ingredients that may actually harm cognitive health or provide no real benefit. Here's the problem. Isolated nutrients behave very differently than nutrients consumed in whole food form. When you extract a compound from food, manufacture it synthetically, and consume it in megadoses, you're creating an artificial metabolic situation your body isn't designed to handle. Some heavily marketed brain supplements contain high doses of synthetic B vitamins. While B vitamins are essential for brain health, synthetic forms may not be properly utilized, and excessive amounts can potentially cause imbalances. Other products contain proprietary blends with minimal research supporting their cognitive benefits. They're marketed aggressively with impressive-sounding ingredient lists, but lack solid evidence of efficacy.
Perhaps most concerning, some supplements contain contaminants, aren't accurately labeled, or interact with medications in ways consumers don't expect. Research examining supplement use and cognitive outcomes has produced mixed results at best. Some studies have found no benefit from supplementation in people without deficiencies. Others have even suggested potential harm from certain supplements when taken unnecessarily or in excessive doses. The real tragedy? People consume these products believing they're protecting their brains, while potentially neglecting the dietary patterns that actually matter. Whole foods rich in natural nutrients, antioxidants, and beneficial compounds. The recommendation? Be extremely skeptical of heavily processed supplements and fortified foods marketed for brain health. Instead, focus on consuming nutrients through whole food sources, leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, nuts, seeds, colorful vegetables.
If you suspect nutritional deficiencies, work with your doctor to test levels and supplement strategically based on actual need, not marketing claims. Your brain needs real food, not synthetic formulas. And now, we've reached the most damaging food of all. Number 1. The item that appears harmless, that people consume regularly, that research increasingly links to accelerated cognitive decline and dementia risk. Number 1. Excess alcohol, even moderate amounts. This is the one people resist most, because for decades, we've heard that moderate alcohol consumption might be heart healthy or even brain protective. But large-scale research is forcing a sobering reassessment of that assumption. Recent studies examining alcohol consumption patterns and brain health have produced disturbing findings. Even moderate drinking, defined as 1 drink daily for women, 2 for men, shows associations with brain volume loss and cognitive decline. Research using MRI scans to measure brain structure has found that alcohol consumption, even at levels previously considered safe, correlates with measurable brain shrinkage. The more people drink, the more pronounced the effect. The hippocampus, critical for memory formation, appears particularly vulnerable. Regular alcohol consumption, even at moderate levels, may accelerate hippocampal atrophy. Alcohol also disrupts sleep architecture, preventing the deep sleep stages when your brain clears metabolic waste products, consolidates memories, and performs essential maintenance. Chronic sleep disruption from regular alcohol use accumulates cognitive damage over time. Additionally, alcohol generates inflammatory responses, oxidizes easily creating free radicals, depletes B vitamins essential for brain health, and can damage the gut microbiome that influences neurological function.
Large population studies tracking people for decades have found that those reporting regular alcohol consumption show higher rates of dementia diagnosis in later life compared to non-drinkers. I know this information is difficult to hear. Many people enjoy wine with dinner or a cocktail to unwind. The social and cultural aspects of drinking run deep. But if protecting your cognitive health is a priority, particularly if you have family history of dementia or early warning signs yourself, the evidence increasingly suggests that minimizing alcohol consumption or eliminating it entirely may be one of the most powerful protective strategies available. A patient in his late 50s came in concerned about memory problems. Cognitive testing showed early impairment. Detailed history revealed he'd consumed 2 to 3 drinks most evenings for decades, well within moderate guidelines. We discussed the mounting evidence linking even moderate alcohol consumption to cognitive decline.
He made the difficult decision to stop drinking completely. 18 months later, his follow-up testing showed stabilization, not dramatic improvement, but cessation of decline. His sleep quality improved markedly. His subjective cognitive clarity increased. The recommendation? Honestly assess your alcohol consumption. If you're drinking daily or multiple times weekly, consider reducing significantly or eliminating entirely. If you have family history of dementia, early cognitive symptoms, or other risk factors, the case for abstinence becomes even stronger. Your evening glass of wine isn't worth your long-term cognitive independence. These 5 foods, refined carbohydrates, omega-6 heavy vegetable oils, artificial sweeteners, processed brain health products, and alcohol, represent some of the most significant dietary threats to cognitive health in adults over 50. Eliminating them won't cure dementia if it's already developing. But research increasingly suggests that dietary patterns profoundly influence cognitive aging trajectories. The hopeful news? Your brain retains remarkable capacity to benefit from better nutrition, even if you've consumed these foods for decades. Making changes now can still influence your cognitive future. Here's what to focus on instead. Colorful vegetables and fruits, rich in antioxidants. Fatty fish providing omega-3s. Whole grains for steady glucose. Nuts and seeds. Olive oil. Legumes, and plenty of water. The Mediterranean diet and Mind diet, both emphasizing whole foods and minimizing processed items, have shown the strongest associations with preserved cognitive function and reduced dementia risk in research studies. Starting today, audit your kitchen honestly. Which of these 5 brain-damaging foods are you consuming regularly? Make one change this week. Replace one harmful food with a brain-protective alternative. Build from there. Your cognitive future isn't predetermined. Dietary choices matter enormously. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these 5 foods shocked you most? Are you consuming any of them regularly? What dietary changes are you willing to make to protect your brain? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We respond to every comment with personalized nutrition guidance. Subscribe for weekly brain health content based on the latest neuroscience research. Share this video with anyone over 50 who needs this information. The choices you make at every meal either protect your brain or damage it. Choose wisely. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.